As an infant loss mom times two, it feels kind of impossible right now for me not to share a little bit about my story and how I don't think that the pro-life movement that I was once a part of is as pro-life as it thinks it is. It took me deconstructing my religion to understand this differently, but I think that my story hopefully will shed light on a different perspective and the nuance that's kind of lacking when we're having these conversations, and how sometimes dogma gets in the way from us seeing the bigger picture and seeing kind of harm on a different level. And forgive that I'm going to be reading this to you. I wanted to be really clear on what I wanted to say because this is like a very deep and important part of who I am. I experienced 2 infant losses within conservative Christianity in the South. For some reason, when I get pregnant, I get to the 20-week mark before anything looks amiss. And then we get a fatal diagnosis. This happened twice. We do every test imaginable, blood test, genetic tests, amniocentesis, and still nothing shows up. Before the 20-week mark, completely normal ultrasounds for both of my girls. But here's the thing. Nothing about the pregnancy is a danger to me or to baby. Nothing is life-threatening. It's a condition with seemingly no cause, and there's no reason it would be medically necessary to abort, but we can't see that anything is wrong until halfway through, and they both survive to full term. The first time it happened, I don't think I would have changed anything because the doctors still had a lot of question marks surrounding what was wrong. They told me they wanted a NICU team waiting at our C-section to assess her post-delivery, and as a first-time mom, I wanted to give her every possible chance at survival. That was just my own natural instinct. But the second time, 6 months after I had just buried my first baby, that time at 20 weeks, I couldn't fathom surviving watching another baby die in my arms. And the only reason I went full term again and delivered again was that after I got the second fatal diagnosis at 20 weeks, I thought God would be mad at me if I terminated the pregnancy. I thought it would be playing God in some way. I do feel that I needlessly suffered in this scenario, and my baby died just as they said she would. My body went through so much. I took on so much trauma, and so much of it was all out of fear of this God that I had been taught to believe in. It's funny, when I tell people I'm not Christian, they often assume I don't believe in God. Isn't that funny? How the concept that God could exist outside of this context isn't even an option on the table in their minds. But I think that the most loving thing any Christian could have done at that time would have been to look me in the eyes and say, "You don't have to do this. You don't have to suffer like this. We know how this is going to end. What's truly the most humane and loving thing we can do, knowing what is to come." Now consider in light of this that my body does not tolerate birth control, and we were denied a vasectomy for my husband because, get this, our insurance is through his Catholic hospital that he is a critical care nurse for, because they don't believe in birth control. Do you see the situation this puts us in when we don't have extra room in our budget for out-of-pocket medical procedures? I had to jump through hoops for 1.5 years to be approved for a hysterectomy, a privilege that I know many, many other women don't have. We have to stop letting black and white dogma blind us. We need to be meeting each other in the gray. There are unintended consequences even to the choices that we think are the best ones. Our problems and the cards we've all been handed are as diverse as all of humanity is. So many fail to consider all of the needless suffering and death that these circumstances amount to for women who did nothing to deserve it. My child still had to die, so why not also extend compassion to the mothers who are actually in these situations all the time? To deny care to women, to arrest women who miscarry, to punish women who travel to seek help. You may think it's shiny and righteous, but it's actually deeply rooted in fear and control. Listen to other people's perspectives. Understand that we live in the gray, not in the black and white. I do not believe that I experienced the compassionate, loving choice, but I was surely praised within this religion for how beautifully I suffered. It's twisted.